Hi, everybody. Leanne Holitza here at the Healing Studio. I'm here with Emily Wishall today. We are talking about magnetic presence. And this is something that Emily is working on as kind of her life project is kind of supporting you guys in embodying fully into your confidence, into your, feeling like your body is your home, that kind of thing. So I wanted to invite her here to just talk about her upcoming class and to just share just in general what she's noticing in the world right now and what how her last class went. If you guys are watching live, thank you, and feel free to put questions up. And if you're watching later, feel free to put questions in the comments and we'll answer them later. You can go to my website and just click on, so you can go to insightfulinspirations.com and just click on events and scroll down to the magnetic presence, or here's the longer URL for you to go to as well. But let's get started. Emily, thanks for joining me again.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Leanne. This is fun. So I'm happy to be here and share.
So I'm curious.
So you already,
Go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking you already asked me some questions, but you tell me what you're curious about.
Yeah. I did ask you questions before we were live, but I'll ask them again so everybody knows. So first, I know you already did a class at the Healing Studio, and I've got some good feedback on it. How did it go for you, and what did you guys cover?
So end of January, taught a class there, and I felt like it went really well. I walked out just feeling really lit up and alive by just the presence of the people that were present and that were there. What we talked about, like the title of the class was Embody Radical Self-Love and Empowering Women to Rewrite the Body Narrative. So we specifically worked with that idea of what is radical self-love. And for me, my personal belief and kind of how I work and operate with my clients is, in order to love our body, we have to learn how to inhabit our body. And that's actually something that we're not really taught, and we're not, especially in today's world, invited into throughout our day. I don't think it's very often people are like, check in with your body. Instead, it's like, let me check my email, let me check my text messages. So the class was, there was 3 specific embodiment practices that I taught. So it was very, interactive, experiential, because it's important to me anytime I teach that. I always want anyone I'm giving suggestions or exercises, practices, to actually try them in the moment, right? To have a tangible experience of, oh, this is what it actually feels like when I'm in my body. So we're not just intellectually thinking about these ideas, you're having an experience. And so, yeah, we did 3 specific embodiment practices around, I have a book called Radical Embodiment. And in the book, I take readers through 7 main limiting beliefs that I see keeping people stuck, feeling like hate or dissatisfaction for their body. And so we took the 3 top limiting beliefs that I see, the 3 most common, which were I'm not enough, I am too much, and I'm not worthy. And instead of just trying to go and bypass that into like, I am enough or I am worthy, or the positive of that, we went into an actual embodied experience of how can you actually feel that in your body to then know it. And then, you can play with saying the affirmation from there if you want. But that was kind of that was the class that we did.
Awesome. Well, so this next class is that you're doing is called Magnetic Presence and Embodying Confidence and Connection. And the kind of premise of that seems to be more about, walking in a room and getting noticed versus feeling really shy or somewhere in between. And I guess I'm first curious, like, have you noticed there's like some things going on for people after the pandemic happened around their willingness to be kind of like in a room or engaging with people? Have you seen a change?
Well, to be honest, that was why I think I have taught since the pandemic, but it's been more in my office with clients that I know really personally. So this was my first time, I'm pretty sure I have to like kind of track, really since pandemic, teaching in person somewhere outside of my container. And I actually felt like everyone was really willing that was there. I was
Nice.
like surprised how quickly everyone dropped in.
Oh, awesome.
What I would say generally, yeah, that was what I experienced. everyone has some trepidation initially, but I think once we got going, everyone was in it. I would say though, generally, yeah, I think that there is this sense of really, I was just thinking last night, 4 years ago, a little over, just over, right, was the start of it all. And which is just wild to think about. But, that then created such a separation for us. And then we were just screen. And I think it was a disembodied experience for a lot of us, right? We didn't feel safe. We didn't know what was happening. And I feel like now that we're 4 years out, at least in my personal experience and those in my inner sphere, what seems to be a common theme is we're just now kind of, oh, wow, processing what happened. And like, oh, right, that happened. I think I like disassociated that time when, there was no toilet paper in the grocery store. Or I remember that time before we wore masks and I was there and I sneezed and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to like get shunned or something. So I actually think there's a readiness for people. I think we want to be together. I think as humans, we're meant to be together. And maybe though superficially, like if someone's not really connected deeper into that, yeah, some trepidation or like a little anxiety of not sure how to be around people or in groups or how to engage or where do I fit in this group or that group if it's out of the norm. So I do think that's probably a general experience people are having.
Yeah, I just feel like you mentioned, even like the idea that, oh, I sneezed and I'm going to be, now everybody's going to think I'm the one getting everyone sick or whatever, like those real fears that came up. And then also just like you said, the screens and all of that, I think that really did impact people's confidence. I mean, I'm definitely seeing that in my practice as people's, they're moving differently in the world in a way that maybe is a little bit more tentative, which, if maybe we first get a little more mindful, that'd be okay. Right. But I think what you're trying to accomplish and, I want to know more about it is, physical presence and how people bring it to their lives.
Yeah.
And tell me more about
something I want to just to speak to what you shared, because I think it's an interesting point of, this tentativeness that is in the world versus the mindfulness, or even, what you said a little while back of, this idea of presence and, someone walking into the room and really feeling like everyone sees them, right? They're really visible, or that other person, maybe they feel shy. And so, but with that, I also then want to name there might be times you just don't really want to be seen, right? It's not like we want to be so visible all the time. And so, but having choice around that. And that's where I'm coming from, is having a choice and awareness of where is our energetic field? Where is our awareness? Where is our attention? And so, to go to that tentative and mindfulness, what the tentativeness to at least me feels like in my body. And I think when I imagine somebody feeling that, what I sense in them is a subtle shrinking, and also like they're not really here. So they're not taking up their space, and they're probably also then feeling anxious, like maybe others around them, or they're not really sure. Maybe they're not really breathing, like I'm not right now. Versus if being mindful and aware feels more, you're centered, more calm. Maybe you're not fully, lit up. And I know you do like so much energy work. That's like your zone. I call it like our light globe sometimes, our energy field, but maybe you're not so purposely lit up there because maybe you don't want to be super visible, but you're contained in your space. You're still inhabiting in you. Even if you might be then moving through the world mindfully in a way of awareness, of heightened awareness from pandemic, or just mindful of how you're interacting with others. Versus, so the class, this idea of magnetic presence, what we'll be working with and teaching is how can you learn to really inhabit and be in your body, as well as be in your energetic field. So I think of that like expanded, contained, but we'll be working with some specific anatomy. Actually, I'll be teaching just a little bit of anatomy. I think it's helpful in this world of wanting to inhabit our bodies. It's helpful to have an understanding of a little bit of our internal map, right? A map is how we landmark things, is how we know where we are and orient. So we will be learning some anatomy specifically around the pelvis, around the psoas muscles. Briefly, the psoas muscles are the only muscle that attach the legs into the spine. It's a deep muscle. It's a huge muscle. I find a lot of significance around this psoas. I won't get into all of that right now, but with this idea of, I believe, and what I've seen in my practice with clients time and time again, as we are able to find and access our psoas muscles energetically and physically, it allows us to access our authentic posture. So this way of being upright with ease versus this, the good posture we're taught, like shoulders back, stomach, which is really rigid and forced and efforted. And I don't think is magnetic, and I don't think is really like present, and it creates pain and strain. So we'll be putting together the worlds of, the physical body and the energetic body, and merging and being in both and inhabiting in both to kind of bring together that idea of magnetic presence. And then from there, you have more choice, right? I mean, it's something just like any practice. It's a practice. Play with it, right? It takes cultivation and time, and places that feel safe, right? Like the time to probably be like, oh, I'm going to go have this really triggering conversation with my boss or with my partner. Like, this is going to be the one time I first really try to play with this idea of presence. I'm all for it. Try and practice it and have grace with yourself. It's probably going to be a more challenging time, but like, so we can build these muscles to have choice of then how do we want to navigate through the world in a daily like basis choice, and a moment by moment choice of, sometimes I go to the grocery store and I don't want anybody to see me, I just want to get in, get out. I'm tired, whatever it is. But there's a way that I can do that feels actually probably more draining for me, versus there's a way I can also do that I feel centered and calm, right? And it's where is my attention and energy? And am I shielding, or am I like contained? That's all. I'll leave it. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I think posture and just like how you hold your body, and even your dysfunctions that start to come because of that, really can speak to belief systems, mindset. I think you can map a lot of our physical dysfunctions to that stuff. So it's good to start to have those conversations about that and learn to, to shift it in ourselves. So that's cool that you're teaching that. So
Yeah.
So Emily's, like she mentioned, she's got a book called Radical Embodiment, which I put the little website up there. And I mean, in general, just looking into Emily's work would be worth it. But if you guys really feel like drawn to working on kind of it, and it sometimes I feel like in a group setting, we're actually more exponentially capable of changing, because we are seeing ourselves in others, and we're seeing also our differences in others. Like somebody else is experiencing it differently than I am, and I thought this is the only way to experience something, and now I'm seeing that you have a different way, and maybe I actually want to adopt your way because it's more authentic or whatever. But just the group settings are really powerful for working through some of this stuff. So I know that sometimes it can be kind of vulnerable to come show up to a group, maybe people that you don't even know, but you might give it a try. Emily, is there anything else you want to share about your upcoming class before we say bye to our audience?
No, I just appreciate naming that about the group. And I think that's even just the last class that I taught at the Healing Studio. That's what I experienced. It does exponentiate being, sometimes like seeing other people in their shifts, right? And if you see that in someone else, it's, I think, more easy or more ready for you to kind of find that in yourself, or exactly what you said. So I'm excited. The class is end of June. And of course, reach out, leave comments if questions. Happy to answer any questions, concerns. And
definitely. If you guys have comments later, feel free to put them in the comment section. I'll get them, and then Emily and I can connect and get you an answer. All right, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time. And if you have questions, like I said, share, but go be amazing.
Awesome.